cod and chips, fish and chips. The cost of fish and chips at the takeaway, the fish and chip shop, well, it soars by around 19% in just a year. Then they say it's around £9 now to buy a portion of fish and chips. I thought, hang on, that don't sound right. I've been told by many a source that's near £14 now. So I did a bit of research, and when I googled fish and chips and that B word, Brexit, not one newspaper mentions the country's decision to leave the European Union, that it plays any kind of role whatsoever in the cost of everything. Well, inflation. Well, my hair, please boop the old like button. And there will be a secret word at the end of this video, and if you watch Sport Channel, you can do it on Patreon or buy us a coffee, and the link's down below. But also, we're doing rewilding here in France. We're planting 1,000 trees, maybe more, on 2 hectares of land, where we'll plant a tree and we'll put a sign with that tree, with your name on. Could be a memory of a loved one even, or even a pet. But we're also making bat boxes, bird boxes, little houses and that for animals. If you'll be part of that, like I say, there's a GoFundMe link down below. Well, I hear you say, inflation, a bit like sovereignty. Yeah, Brexit, sovereignty. But Brexit has made inflation worse. Now, Tom Tugenhat, he was one of the runners to be the Prime Minister. He fell flat on his face, he did, yeah. He's an MP, and he said that the protests, hindering people getting to work, he said, was fuelling inflation. Okay then, on that premise, blocking workers from the EU also fuels inflation then. I would say yes, and so does Adam Posen, the economist, who also said that the supply chain shock, especially labour, was fueling inflation. And the pound was, hard hit when a whole load of numpties put that cross in the wrong box. It plummeted overnight. And a weak pound makes everything that we import more expensive. And don't we import? Oh my God, yeah. And so does inflation. And considering, that we import around 60% of our food. Yes, it is at least 60%. They say it's 30%, but it's not. In real terms, it's now 60%. Well, these costs are increasing at a rate of knots. And that's with, over 19% food inflation. See the correlation there with the cost of fish and chips. Well, our local chip shop was called the Frying Machine in Norwich. And that was run by a guy called Paul. I wouldn't be surprised if he voted Brexit. He might not have done, but he might have done. But I wouldn't be surprised if he did. But anyway, he's actually a lovely guy, but he's a roofer. Anyways, he got out of roofing game because of health issues and decided to, start fish and chip shops. Okay. He exchanged one kind of health issue for another. Because, oh my God, he looks like Fester Adams now. He didn't used to. He used to be quite slender, really healthy. Yeah, strong. Well, the Frying Machine in Norwich, I have to admit, it was a really good fish and chip shop. Good quality stuff. I just checked their prices, though, on their website. And I was shocked. It was doubled. It at least doubled from what it was when I was in the UK. I'm in France now, so we have Mules and Fritz instead. Now, on the website it cites a regular cod is £7.90, and it looks like it's been cut in half, if you ask me. A haddock, £9.50. A fish cake, a soggy old fish cake, mashy old flippin' potato thing with a bit of breadcrumb around the outside of it. Flippin' horrible soggy old bits of lump of crap. £3.90. If you make a fish cake yourself, don't get me wrong, they're lovely. But those ones that get in the freezers and stuff, they're absolute rubbish. Just mashed up crap. And a battered sausage. A sausage, a sausage that may be King Charles the third sausage fingers, maybe he'll be proud of. It's flipping £4.10 for sausage. Sausage one. And pukka pies. Remember pukka pies? Beef and onions, steak and kidney. What was that? Chicken and mushroom. Pukka pies. in their little foil trays. They shove in the microwave, don't they? £5.90 for one little old pie. Another piece of frozen crap. I thought, okay, then how much are chips then? They've got to be cheap, haven't they? Chips. Just a spud chopped up and put in the fryer. No, it's £4.90 for a portion of chips. £4.90. I don't know how much it costs around your way. Leave it in the comments down below. But these prices are flipping out. They're horrendous. Now, I've got to believe it, bums on seats. The more people you have giving a little bit, the more likely you're going to receive some sort of success. But as soon as you charge a lot, all of a sudden, well, they don't come anymore. No one. Well, fish and spuds, well, they've all increased in costs, partly because of inflation, what have you. And the lack of supply has played a massive part in the price to the customer in the fish and chip shop. The Brexit, for instance, has most certainly hampered our fishing industry. Fishing quotas, etc. And in the Nordic waters are especially hit. And those seabed destroying trawlers, and yes they do, are stuck in port, thank goodness for that. Since they've already fished their quotas. Well, the war in Ukraine, it forced sanctions on Russia. And we are still eating Russian fish. Instead of it being, affordable, cost-effective, maybe, buying Russian fish. At the time, it wasn't really a problem. Well, now there's a tariff on it of 35%, which you've got to pay for at the fish and chip shop. Now, in ordinary times, Russia supplied around 30 to around 40% of all fish sold in British fish and chip shops. Not a lot of people know that, no. Mostly cod and haddock. Well, the British fish and chip shop is being hit from so many angles. Now, trebling energy prices, of course, doesn't help. And why is the UK paying so much for energy? The EU's, member states, their citizens aren't being stung, like the Brits are, no. Even, BP. They made record profits at the beginning of this year, £4 billion for the first 3 months in 2023. That your pauper's meal is no longer for paupers. You Brits have been fleeced, you are. That's what happens when you vote for a Tory charlatan. Fools. As a result, everything is more expensive. A perfect storm, you could say. And then you got Brexit. That isn't helping at all, no. And we in the EU, we have similar pressures because of the war in Ukraine and energy costs, etc., etc. But the one thing that we don't have is that massive cock-up, Brexit, and a government that is hell-bent on feathering their own nests through dodgy backhand deals. We've seen a lot of that recently, haven't we? Yet nothing happens. They might lose their seat, and that's about it. The biggest con artist of them all is our Prime Minister. Well, I won't say he's mine. Prime Minister. Not my Prime Minister. No. Richie Sunak. And his half-mast trousers. Criminal, if you ask me. Well, the pandemic and the energy giant promoters such as John Redwood and Nigel Farage, they all go, they say, oh, when the wind turbines, they stop spinning because there's no wind, there's no electric. Oh, the solar panels, they don't produce anything when the sun goes in. How little do they know? They don't understand how it works. No. Well, quite frankly, they're all to blame for the cost of flipping everything going up. And it's not just the fish and chips. No. Everything is more expensive. No. Well, my secret word today has to be blob. Like a blob fish. An ugly old blob fish that looks like Nigel Farage or even our king. Not my king. Oh yeah, by the way, I've done their t-shirts, anti-monarchy t-shirt. I'm no monarchist. Especially for what's been going on lately. I didn't used to mind them, to be honest. I didn't really care, to be honest. But now, When you get to know what it's all about and how they've, through royal assent, manipulated politics so they can hide their wealth, well, they can go to, where, as far as I'm concerned. And the French had it right. Off with their heads! We need a British Bastille. That we do, hypothetically speaking, of course. So my secret word of the day is blobfish. Or like an uncooked fish that happens to have parasites in it. Because they're also parasites. That could also be the secret word of the day. Make your choice. Leave it in the comments down below. And how much are you having to pay for fish and chips? And have you seen the portion sizes reduce? Have they got stingy? Do you suspect that they're chopping your fish in half? Maybe they are. Just to get an extra one. I don't know. You tell me. Leave in the comments down below. Anyway, I'm going to do some work on this lovely, sunny, during this lovely sunny day. Because it is absolutely gorgeous here. And like I said earlier, we are planting trees here. 1,000 trees on 2 hectares of land. And the links are down below. Anyway. It's time for me to go, so I'll say ta-ta, so ta-ta.